Hello YouTube, we've got another sketchbook. You know the gist. This is, I believe, my third 8th grade sketchbook. I went through a lot of sketchbooks in 8th grade because I was using thinner notebooks. And you'll also notice, I think 8th grade was the year that I went through a huge drawing style evolution. It's like there's like 2 different styles in every book, and it's interesting, but this, no, I guess not. It's not quite the last 8th grade book. Things get a little hairy for a bit after this one, because at the same time that I had this one going, I had another not notebook sketchbook that I did at home with like markers and stuff, and then there was another like smaller book that I got for Easter in 8th grade that also served a similar purpose. So those two will be next. And then we get into the high school sketchbooks, which is really where shit hits the fan. But anyways, so here is the last 8th grade book, kind of in-class 8th grade book, I guess. The notebooks were the ones that I had in school with me all the time. And you'll notice a rather recognizable symbol on the cover of this one. If you had a My Chemical Romance phase at any time in your life, you know what this is. If you didn't, look it up. You'll find it in like 2 seconds. So here we go. And this one, no, never mind. It just had one like weird manila folder kind of thing in it. There weren't any like chapter divisions or whatever in this book. It's much of the same. It's been a minute since I recorded the last one of these, so if you're binging these, which I don't know why you would be, but if you are, I might not be picking up on plumb lines quite as readily if you are, so don't yell at me. But yeah, this is where Dan and Phil make their first appearance. There's Dan, there's Phil. I had a really intense Dan and Phil phase, as a lot of other people did at the time. So you're gonna see a lot of fan art with a PH in here. I didn't really ship them. I thought I did, but I didn't really, because shipping real life people is weird. But Dan and Phil, there's a lot of Dan and Phil art in here. And then here's Marceline from Adventure Time. I've always loved her. And this is a really cute drawing. I don't know, I mean, I think I do, because I had never drawn anything gay before, and I was like, people are gonna be homophobic, which nobody was. And I actually, even if I remember, I'll put it like right here. I did a digital drawing of this also, where their hair was like galaxy print. Yeah, this was that time, you know, like 2014. Everything had galaxy print on it. But yeah, much of the same. You know, there's my Killjoy again. I think there's me in my Frank Iero sweater. It's, again, I'm really good at filling these pages, so I apologize in advance. This was when I got into my, like, profile phase. Everybody had one of these where they just drew the profile of the face all the time. This is really funny, the way the ear is, like, the anatomy on that head makes no sense, and I think that's awesome. Oh yes, this is a comic I made, and it was based on a true story, actually for real. So it's called Gender Roles and Comic Books. We're at a comic book store, and me and my friend, and there is a little girl with her mom. So me and my friend are looking at the comic books, and then the little girl like picks up an action figure and shows it to her mom, and she really wanted it. And the mom goes, "No, sweetie, that's a boy's toy, put it back." And I go, "What?" And then my friend, who claimed to be gender fluid at the time, goes, "Bullshit." The end. And then everybody clapped. No, not really, but that was like an interaction that I did witness in real life. I didn't do anything about it other than make this comic. Here's a drawing of myself in a Game Theory t-shirt. I don't know if you can read it, but it says Game Theory. I did have a Game Theory t-shirt. Stuff I don't get. Here are some OCs that I think I drew once and never drew again. We've got Ronnie and Ryan. I was really creative with names. I don't think I ever drew them again after this. I maybe did like once or twice, but not anything else. Another beautiful head profile. I could not for the life of me get into Supernatural. Even more so could not get into Doctor Who. The only one that I actually enjoyed watching was Sherlock. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I have a bad feeling that it didn't age well and it's not that good, but I digress. I watched about 6 episodes of Supernatural. I don't even think Castiel was in it yet, but there's my drawing of Castiel. We've got some Smosh fan art. We haven't seen some Smosh fan art since the 6th grade sketchbooks, and I noted it here. This is Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence. I know they're a very problematic band now. It's been so long, actually, that we've come full circle, and I'm just now getting over allergies again. So I'm sorry that I'm not on my A game today. Here's a drawing of Frank Iero, Party Poison. I really was not a creative person for a long time. I was just kind of like redrawing the same thing over and over again. This was a self-portrait, actually, kind of. It's not a good one, but I mean, I recognize it as myself because of like the nose and the tiny mouth and everything, but it is not accurate. There's also a lot of math in this. I guess I used this book in math class a lot. Does anybody remember that Punk Edits IRL thing that a lot of YouTubers did back in the day, and Dan and Phil did it too? Yeah, that's what this was. We've got L from Death Note and Light L from Death Note again. The Punk Edits IRL again. Frank Iero. Some little drawings of myself. This was an instance where someone said, "Can you draw me?" and I drew them. Oh no, sorry. I was just looking at this person. Never mind. Here's Joe Truman. I don't remember how to say his last name. The guy with the curly hair and Fall Out Boy in a dress. He's called Princess Fro. Yeah, here's those two again. I think I used them to vent some very, very, very deep-seated frustrations and feelings. Walter. Again, this is, I think this, at least right now, is my most uninspired book yet. Here's some Umbrella Academy fan art, circa 2015. I know that Umbrella Academy right now is like all the rage. I don't really care to watch it, but I did read the comic book back in the day. There's Bridget's Killjoy. Some Hitalia fan art. You know, I was really just trying to figure myself out. And I think, you know, I don't have a lot to say regarding this stuff either, because I'm not really anywhere like remotely close to this headspace right now. I think the anime stuff and like the Portal stuff, even to a degree, I was conceptually thinking about that with my like current art making practice, and that is not the case for this. This is all just like really mid fan art of bands. That's okay though. Here's some anatomy stuff. You'll notice this is around when I really, not quite as intensely as I do later on, but I do start practicing anatomy more and like studying rather than just drawing out of boredom and to make fan art. There's still like more of that than anything else in this, but like this was an attempt at some head perspectives and like sitting cross-legged, which is really hard to draw, and this figure that is, at least at a glance, very, you know, pretty decently proportioned. The head might be a little small, the legs are definitely too long, but you know, there was an attempt. And I will say, from the angle that I'm sitting at, because it's skewed, it does look a little more correct at my angle than it does in your view, and that's okay. Bridget drew these. More of the same. I feel like I shouldn't say too much if it's all repetitive. This is a cool page, and I remember really liking this page back in the day too. I think this is when I really started getting into drawing with pens a little bit more. Finally, like, breaking out of just drawing with pencil. This was a way of drawing heads that I got stuck to for a while. I don't really know why. It's not good. This was also really good. That's because I found a picture on Pinterest and copied it. I'm not proud of that, but yeah. And like I said, this was the era of like half-shaved heads and stretched ears and galaxy print stuff and flower crowns, like the Tumblr aesthetic era. So that stuff is going to start cropping up a lot in here. Here's Dan and Phil's sim, Dill. Some more. That's very cute. Oh, and look at that. There's a pose practice of like someone jumping over something sideways. This is cute fan art of Dan and Phil playing The Sims with, I don't remember these two Sims names, but they were trying to get Dill to flirt with the girl and ruin their marriage. So Dan is saying, come on Dill, ruin their marriage, and Phil's saying, no, don't do that. This is where it all began. I think in the more recent, like my last undergrad book video, I said like there was a drawing of a little like chubby white-haired guy in a pink sweater, and I said that was my high school OC. This was the very first instance of that. His name is Casper. He is, by all accounts, a one-dimensional, no personality, cute little shy gay boy. And he's pale and he's got freckles. You know, there's more to him now, kind of, but even then, I mean, he's kind of just a twink. But this was his original reference sheet. He looks very different now. You'll see the evolution of him, like, as the sketchbooks go on. And so then I would draw Casper a lot more. There he is in his, like, signature outfit. Here he is as a deer, for some reason, with a little flower crown. I drew this a lot. And then here, I remember very vividly, like, working on this drawing in study hall. Like, I spent 45 minutes on this, which, looking at it now, I don't know how I took 45 minutes to do that, but I did. But that's okay. Yeah, my style is changing again, so, like, it's doing this now. Kind of. It's, like, bridging. Here he is again. Casper as a deer. This is some painting stocking fan art. And again, much of the same. But the style is changing a little bit again. And I would say by the end of this book is going to be what I would say was the beginning of like me really settling down with the style. It wasn't just me like drawing bad anime or copying the Hitalia style or anything. Like, I settled down and had my own style finally, which was like the crappy Tumblr red nose freckles style, but it was something that I settled down with, and like it just very slowly evolved with me through high school and college. Yeah, there's some cool Marceline fan art. I got really into, I don't even know what that was. This was a Dan and Phil thing, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not remembering it completely. Oh, does everybody remember the Fall Out Boy music video for, oh my god, Irresistible? I had to Google it because I couldn't remember, but the music video for Irresistible where they're all playing basketball, that was fan art of that. Here's more of that, more fan art, you know. This I did a digital drawing of as well, which is another thing that I copied off of a picture I found on Pinterest. I just keep drawing the same stuff over and over again. This is Pete Wentz. There's Andy, forget his last name, the drummer of Fall Out Boy. Again, with the practicing stuff. So here's some bodies, like different body sizes, which like, looking at it now, like these are really bad, and you know, I'm a lot better at drawing bigger bodies now because I paint them a lot too. But like, there's no harm in trying, and hence, you know, that's what I did. Here's a drawing of me. Here's that. Again, with the Tumblr noses. This is crazy weird. I don't vibe with that drawing. It's strange. Oh, that's cute. So this is a little chart of how I over the last like 3 years would draw eyes and noses. This is, I guess, what it was by 2016, or the end of this book, I guess. I'm getting excited because I know like by the end of this book it does get kind of cool, at least by like standards of a 14-year-old. But the noses progressively got more realistic looking and less anime-y. Oh, we've got, this might be the first references to Ninja Sex Party in here that we've seen so far, if I can recall. I got really into NSP when I was 14, 15 years old. Then we've got some good old Yume Nikki fan art too. Yeah, I got really into NSP. I think that's really funny. I still think they're fun. I don't really follow what they do anymore. Last I checked, they were like a cover band. But I think they still make original music too. Yeah, this book really kind of sucks for a lot of it. Like, there's a lot of pages that aren't even drawing. This was for a school assignment. Oh, that's so silly. This is really good, also, unironically. I think I looked at a reference for this, it wasn't like I wasn't copying like another person's art. I was just looking at a picture of Danny, and I drew it. So, like, some really good evidence of, like, the musculature and the arms, and yeah, this is pretty good. And like the fabric, so we're getting somewhere, which I think is really fun. And then we backpedaled like 5 million yards with this drawing. I remember I didn't like this at the time, but this was around the time, I wonder if we can find a date anywhere coming up, where I started to actually get into portraiture, like for real, and I started doing realistic celebrity portraits. I thought they were realistic, but they looked like this, and I did them on like large, like drawing paper. I didn't just do them in my sketchbooks, and the anatomy's not good. The eyes are really big, the hair is just kind of like a helmet, you know, the noses are really flat, they're not like properly carved out of the face, you know, the mouth looks stuck on, but it's a beginning, like, and it's interesting to see, like, this is where it started and how I'm still drawn to portraiture now, I guess. That's not a good page. It's interesting seeing how this is on the other side of this page, how these pens that I would find on the ground are like, how non-archival they are. But yeah, now this is when the book starts getting a little cooler, I think, because I started focusing on getting better at drawing, for lack of a better word, term, whatever. Here's a portrait of Gerard Way. It's not good, but it's something. And this was supposed to be a portrait of Casper. There's a lot of Casper. I probably still have this pink pen somewhere. It stayed with me for a really long time. Like, I kept it with me through high school too. It was just such a like unique color, and I found it on the floor. Here's just more stuff from class. Here's a portrait of Frank Airo and also Gerard in an attempt at Dan Howell from the side, and then I tried it again, and I remember I drew this in my art class in 8th grade, and you know, back in like, or at least when I was in middle school, the way they did it was weird, and things were divided into quarters instead of semesters, so you only had 7 weeks of an art class, and I waited all year to have art class, and I finally had it, and I was drawing this in art class, and some kid was like, "Whoa, you're like a modern Picasso," which I think is funny because if you've seen Picasso's art, you know, but also because of the kind of person that Picasso was. I remember, like, I think the reason why this book thrives so much towards the end is because I was in an art class finally, and I was like, I was having fun. Yeah, and it's just interesting. And again, I think also, like, I was really starting to get a feel for drawing. Like, here's me studying people in study hall, drawing them, this is something that I still do to this day, people watching, you know. Here's Casper again. But like, look at that. Look at how I'm thinking about calf muscles, for example, and like the width of the neck being as wide as the head. Like, I'm applying anatomy. Like, I think he's like 8 heads tall almost. I don't feel like counting it right now. But here's a really, I got into drawing these little things, these like stupid little ribbon things. That's a really cute drawing of Patrick Stump. I think Patrick Stump from the early 2000s has my entire heart. And I mean this in an endearing way, he's a fat loser with mutton chops and a fedora, and that's really cool. Oh yeah. This is very much a product of its time. The galaxy, the little kawaii planets, the crying, the red nose and shoulders, it's all there. All of the signs and signifiers are there. Some more NSP fan art. Again, like, that's not people watching, but these two are. Some hand studies. These are like, you know, compared to how this book started, I mean, these are crazy good, right? Like, look at the hands on these guys. That's wild. Look at the dimension at play here is crazy. Yeah, I remember this was around my birthday. This was in April because this was the Japan selfie where Dan and Phil went to Japan and took this selfie. And I remember I drew this the night before my birthday on the computer. I did like a digital drawing of it. Maybe I'll share it here if I feel like editing it in. But I had food poisoning that night, and I remember feeling really sick while I was drawing it. Regardless, so yeah, we're in towards the end of 8th grade, and I think like there's a really good eyeball. I'm starting to get really good at drawing, and I think at this point too, I was flourishing a little more in relation to like I was flourishing socially. Like I was starting to make some friends again, and I was really excited because I was moving, so I moved around a lot, and that's why I got bullied so much in middle school, because I could never like settle down and make friends. So everybody had their friends from when they were like in 1st grade, and then I was just this like ugly, smelly loser kid from another town that just rolls in with no friends, and then you're immediately at the bottom of the food chain. I started climbing that food chain a little bit in 8th grade, not by much, but a little bit. But I was excited because I was going to be moving back to where I grew up when I was in elementary school. Realistically, I wouldn't be getting bullied anymore, so I thought. I did. We'll get to that though. But I was happy because I knew I was going to be back with my friends soon in school, and I was really looking forward to it. Sorry, I didn't mean to like yabber about that, but oh goodness, this was a superhero OC that I made named Chemical X, not the Powerpuff Girls one, but Chemical X, and they were a gender fluid superhero, and the way that was signified was they had a purple undercut. I think it was purple. They had an undercut, they had a lip piercing, and they wore a mini skirt and heels and presented male otherwise. But look at that. I need to practice posture and poses. That's crazy. You know, a year ago, I would not have been saying that about myself. We've got some Sherlock fan art too that was on the other page, but here, more eyes. We're entering the eye era. The elephant in the room. So yes, alongside everything else, I also enjoyed viewing the content of Onision. I only really liked the videos where he would just look at pictures and talk about them on Google. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're on the Obro channel. I was not like a ride or die Onision stan in any capacity. I didn't interact on any of his like web forums where he like solicited. Yeah, I mean, if you know about it, you know about it. I have no complacency in any of the horrible things that he's done. Chris Hansen, please don't come for me. I love you, Chris Hansen. I would love to meet you one day, but not, yeah. Anyways, look at that. I'm practicing drawing arms, drawing more hands. This was really good. This arm right here with that hand, look at that hand. That's crazy. Oh yeah, look at that eyeball with some like star stickers on it. That's crazy. The Dan and Phil Easter video. The anatomy on this is really good too. Check that out. That's crazy. Look at the legs on that. The perspective on the feet even. There's a drawing of my cat Spooky. She passed away this year, and I still think about her every day. I miss her a lot. Just some more of the same. But again, I'm like blowing myself away here. Like the anatomy is getting really not that bad. And we're entering like full-blown Tumblr nose territory now too. There's Casper again. That's a weird drawing of Casper. These are cute. This fan art of Gerard from Teenagers and Mama. Again, addressing the elephant in the room. I know what I just said about Onision. I did read his first book, Stones to Abigail, and it wasn't good. It was not good. And I feel ashamed that I used my mother's money to buy it, but I did read it. And I did do a school project about it because, you know, you would have to keep a reading log, and then to make sure that you actually read the book, you had to do a project about it. And I would always do the art one, so like design a book cover, make a comic, blah blah blah. So I made a comic for Stones to Abigail detailing the really stupid plot of this book, which involves a school shooting. Yep. Oh, this is horrible. So I did like a colored version of it. This was just the thumbnail, and I posted it on Tumblr and tagged Onision. And then he posted it on Twitter. That is my, I could either say that is my most successful moment or like the worst moment of my life. And I don't know which one it is. I had people sign this at the end of the year instead, because I didn't get a yearbook. I didn't want one. Here's some weird, they're not centaurs really, but they're like centaur adjacent. But I remember drawing these and thinking, I need to practice drawing horses. And I think there's going to be some horse drawings coming up here. This is really funny because, you know, we've got this little sad pastel goth angel boy, and it has this thing next to it that says, he had the eyes of a sad angel. And you're like, wow, that's the most like Tumblr brain-ass thing I've ever seen in my life. This quote is from a Holocaust book. It's Night by Eli Vecto, I think it was his name. I don't remember. Eli something. It's a Holocaust book, and it was about like a little violin player boy that got lynched by Nazis. Yeah, I read that line and I was like, oh, that'd make the coolest fucking drawing. Oh yeah, yep, here's the horse studies. Horses are notoriously difficult to draw. These aren't too bad. This one's bad. This one I think is the weakest link. This one, these two are really, they're all pretty good. Here's Casper as a crystal gem. I started watching Steven Universe. Oh god. We've got Square Mom, we've got Fun Mom, and we've got Bird Mom. Sad little space boy. I don't think I ever said what his gem was, but it's blue. Say it's aquamarine, I guess. Here's Dan Howell. Here's Lapis. Here's Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning. There was like 2 or 3 weeks where I was like, I'm gonna watch an episode of Good Mythical Morning every day when it comes out. That obviously didn't last very long. I don't watch them anymore. There was a minute where I did. Here's a South Park drawing. Cartman, you're an ass. I think that's Stan. Yeah. And that's it. Yay, I filled another notebook. Look at how different the drawing style is compared to when I started this book. That's how I drew myself at the start of the book. That's how I drew myself at the end of it. I just think that's neat. And that's the end of it. Again, we've got evidence of the Knife Game song from that second book that I showed y'all. But yeah. So this is a weird interest. I didn't realize how much of a transitional artifact this was in the grand scheme of things. I think I was getting a little bored, honestly, of doing this, hence the gap between the last one and this one. But I feel reinvigorated because I know the next one is much of the same of what was in here, but it's all in color because it's like all marker drawings and such, as well as me finally dipping my toes into portraiture. And this was also when I finally really started like being active on the internet with my art outside of DeviantArt. Like I started my Instagram, and the next sketchbook that I'm going to show that's what I'll call that one. That's the Instagram sketchbook. I posted on Instagram almost everything in that sketchbook. And then after that, I like nosedive a lot more into academia, like figure studies, and taking things a little bit more seriously. I feel reinvigorated. I'm ready to keep going with this series. I don't know when this is going to get posted because these take me a while to edit because I have to edit out all the like ums and uhs and weird pauses and such, and edit in pictures and censor things, but we'll get there. So yeah, please smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I will see you guys next time.